All right, after you have pressed the top part of your bag, your muslin and your fabric, and you've made a nice clean press, you are then ready to put the drawstring in your bag. You want to put tape on the ends of your drawstring so that it does not shred. You can just use plain masking tape. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. Just kind of roll it around the edge of the end of your drawstring so it doesn't shred. Then let's find the other end. You can see this one's kind of already starting to do that. Just kind of roll it around the top. You need to then come up and get a safety pin from Mrs. LaFrance. You need to place this through the tape of your drawstring. Close the safety pin, and you're going to use the safety pin to actually guide your drawstring through the bag. So remember how we press those, stop. All right, after you've pulled your drawstring through, you've gone through a full circle and a half. You have drawstring hanging on both sides. You're then going to bring the muslin part of your bag on the outside. And you're going to tuck your drawstrings on the inside so they're actually on the outside of your bag, the part that you'll see. But in order to sew it, we have to have it this direction. So tuck that drawstring in, pull it out the bottoms. All right, then we are going to take the edge of our bags, where those openings are, and pull your drawstring out so you have a little bit of a flap like where the tape is. You're going to close the end of the bag, kind of like a frog mouth. Close the end of that bag and make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, so I've just closed the edge of it, just like a frog's mouth. And I have a little bit of the drawstring hanging out. I'm then going to take a pin and pin that drawstring through the end of my bag. So I've just pinned it. So a little bit of it's hanging out. It needs to be nice and flat before you sew it. I'm then going to lay it down, making sure it's nice and flat. I don't have any creases. Take a piece of chalk and you're going to make 3 straight lines. 1, 2, and then 1 on the inside. But my pin is kind of in the way. Try your best to do that 3rd line. Those are the lines that you're actually going to sew on the machine. So you're going to put your fabric into the machine just like this. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then you're just going to do 3 straight lines, backstitching at the beginning and the end of each. The reason why we do 3 is to make sure it's nice and reinforced. So when you're carrying books in it or anything heavy, it's not going to break on you. All right, so I've just done the 3 lines, backstitching at the beginning and the end on my fabric on the end to hold that drawstring. And you'll see there's a little bit of the drawstring still hanging out. That's okay. All right, so after you've done both sides, you're then going to flip it back so that right side of the fabric is on the outside, and you are done. You've completed your drawstring bag. Now put your rubric inside and your directions inside of the bag. Make sure your first and last name is on them along with your hour, and you are ready to get it graded. Awesome job! All right, so I have my fabric nice and flat. I still have my pin. I'm starting at the top part, so it's okay that I leave that pin in there. I'm going to lower my presser foot. I'm going to lower my needle. Presser foot down, needle down, sew. I am going to tell you when you're sewing your drawstring through the fabric, it's going to make a little click. My suggestion is that you hold the fabric at the top and you hold the fabric nice and flat and tight at the bottom and just kind of go full-fledged over that hump. Think of it like a speed bump if you're driving a car. You want to get over that speed bump, which would be your drawstring. So I'm going to start. Make sure you backstitch. Pull it nice and tight and flat. I'm getting towards the hump. I'm going to go flat. Make sure it's nice and tight and flat. When you get to the end, backstitch, and then cut those threads. Remember, this is on the inside of the bag. No one's going to see this part except you when you look at it. Go ahead and take out your drawstring after you do your initial stitch.